All right, welcome back. My name is Victor Lowe, and you're just right on time for People in Politics. Let's talk about what's happening across the country. You can also get to talk to us at Victor Lowe. My guest will tell me they'll tell you their social media handles. You can also reach us at KBC Channel 1. So let's talk about the president versus the MPs. What happened yesterday, and why for the third time the president is going head to head with the members of parliament? What is happening in the second arm of government, that is parliament? The accusations that the president threw to the legislators yesterday during the parliamentary group meeting, the first between ODM and UDA. Let me start with Daniel Orogo. Daniel, good morning. Daniel Orogo is a political and governance expert. He is not new to Jerusalem. Oh, yeah, there you have it. Daniel, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you, my brother.
It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
Karibu sana.
Always a pleasure to be hosted at Channel 1.
Karibu.
Yes, sir.
Harambee Stars doing great stuff.
Of course. We have our own different view about the ongoing championship. First, we admit it is a historical moment because we have hosted it. And we are the host. So that means the responsibilities are bequeathed in our shoulders.
Yes.
As a country, to ensure that we host this as a preliminary tournament. Remember, we are hosting the African Cup of Nations. And this is a launch pad. A lot of lessons we are learning as a country and how to manage our funds, how to manage our sports, how to motivate. But the most interesting thing is the unity it's bringing back to the country. You see Kenyans from all divide, ethnicities, political aisles, different affiliations are acknowledging that the country,
yes,
for the first time, people are uniting towards what brings glory to the country. Yeah. And sports has been one of the, the driving factor to unity. I mean, you can always see how our athletes are always on the track. And people rally behind the Kenyanese, the nationhood. So this is one of the moments that we are seeing that our players, the national team is doing the best it can. Say for debates whether it's a motivational factor or whether the boys have trained.
Motivation is key.
I've trained very well. Or is this because of the reinforcement? That we are seeing the cash. But I also think because the fans are there encouraging the boys,
yes,
that you see it's a moment for the country. And beyond all doubts, in the group of death, Kenya is the top of that group, and Kenya is headed to quarterfinals. I think that is so far where we are, and we should be proud.
I have a question. What if Kenya wins, Chan? Just to all of it. What if? Because we were considered underdogs before the game started.
No.
We were considered underdogs, the group of death and all that.
I mean, nothing is impossible, and people have been should be taught to believe that anything is possible under the sun.
Yes.
The only hope I have, because I mean, I'm a student of leadership and governance. I believe in systems, structures, and procedures.
Good.
I believe in, as opposed to short-term gains, I love sustainability. Okay, in everything that we do. My only hope is that we want to see something sustainable, because suppose today there was no president who is giving them, who is chunking money every time. Suppose there's no president who has promised them 600 million. Okay, where it comes from is another story. If there's no such a president, therefore, it means they will not perform maybe.
Motivation is motivation.
My point is very clear. I'm just saying, we want to see some local growth from primary school, some structured nurturing of talent, so we know we are a football powerhouse with or without necessarily lashing to see, there's something called performance enhancing drugs. It is short-lived. It's for that time. What we are saying, this is very good because motivation is part of, especially when you're doing major tournaments like this. But please, we want to see academies from primary schools. That's once you begin looking for sports people after secondary, you are done. You are lit.
You're right.
You are lit. Please, I want to see sustainability. We cannot not invest in sports and arts, then we expect results. This is a one-off. And okay, miracles stopped with Jesus. Turning wine to water, or water to wine. Miracles, let's not so much dwell on the miracles. What we have here is a moment of miracles. And that's why everybody is shocked. But why is everybody shocked? When Faith Kibekon is running, the girl from my village in Nakuru, we don't get shocked. Somehow we expect, this, she trained. She has been waking up at 4 to train. But this one, why is everybody shocked? Because it's wow, it can come and it can go.
Okay.
Can we be sustainable in these things?
Your fellow doctor is smiling at Doctor, good morning.
Good morning.
His Excellency Dr. John Erusi is the Deputy Governor of Turkana County. Karibu sana.
Yeah, asante Olo.
Just starting by football, I mean, the motivation is here, and we are going to get the political football shortly. Just setting the ground running.
I actually support Mr. Mbai's view that we need to develop systems
Yes.
for sports in this country. Our ambassadors are doing well. We know that we have a lot of talents. Talanta Hela was maybe one way getting there. But I think if we develop those academies so that we nurture those talents, we will not be sitting here and saying, oh, okay, motivation is motivation, yes, but we know the capability of our ambassadors when it comes to games, football, and it is good that we are seeing our team for the first time headed, if not going to win, or just going to give us all proud. But it's a moment of the country that helps us to
be proud of that.
Be together. Yeah.
Great. Let's get into it, gentlemen. Now that we've done our mic test and voice test, we are all set. So the president for the third time, I think, is also here on the front page of the Daily Nation, Mheshimiwa. UDA and Raila MPs meeting fallout. That is what I'm actually looking at. And the president for the third time, Daniel, is getting on the jugular of the members of parliament. He's been a member of parliament before. So whatever is happening within that corridor maybe have changed because of their time, and now it has been upscaled or whatever it is. But all factors remaining constant, he's accused members of parliament in the strongest term possible, taking bribes to affect outcome of the report in the committees.
And he said that he's speaking from a point of knowledge.
Yes.
Because he receives the raw intelligence briefs, quoting him what he said on the papers and what is reported on the papers. So we may probably presume that the president is authoritatively speaking about what is ongoing, and he has an evidence to, the accusation about voter bribery, bribery within the August House. Secondly, we have evidence the fact that I think some times ago, Victor, we might have mentioned one member of parliament actually some times ago, gave a statement and committed that in that house, people are always taking bribes in the toilet. I think that is on public record, Victor. It's not something I'm saying here for allegation. One member of parliament has been on record sometimes last year said that indeed these kinds of vices happens within, the parliament.
Yes.
So may I begin first by saying that out of president's statement and brief that, of course, I received briefs and there's evidence, and out of testifying from a member of parliament, who I do not want to mention on the set, but is on public record, then we can conclude that there is there's an evidence of an act like that happening in the houses. From that, we can presume. Number three, he was asked then he posed a question. I think when you're doing the brief, you read that question.
Yes.
Have you received? Throwing a question to this, the members of parliament who are seated here, who are seated there. Have you received? And then there was a silence. So
no, they said no.
They said no, and then the question, he was challenged and said, "Can you name these members of parliament?" So what followed is, "I will not name them, but I will arrest them."
Yes.
I will not shame them. Yes.
I will not shame, but they will be arrested. So of course, I think with all this and the fact that the three reasons I've given, it seems that being the head of executive, he has privy information, strong evidence, that indeed certain members of parliament, either from the National Assembly or the Senate, might have been recipients of, the bribery when, in carrying out their accountability responsibility.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, and you've just mentioned as well, I think sometimes we really need to be, objective in our thought. And the dice has been cast on this other end. On a television set yesterday, I think one of the Senate members was challenged about the impeachment, whether the bribe was given during the impeachment of the former deputy president, running to 10 million. Again, these allegations, running to 10 million and over for you to have casted your vote. And then, she challenged and say, no, it really was given. So I think that conversation is very, very prime. In the sense that we are looking at a House of Representatives.
Yeah.
In the debate that we are talking about, the Article 10 of the Constitution, the national values and principles of governance in this country, in the presence where we are on a conversation about the Chapter 6 of the Constitution, or the Integrity Act, and members of Parliament who are asked and who are required to be people who embrace, or people who has gone through an integrity channel and has come out as people who are able to represent the country, and they're able to do the accountability, they're able to do oversight, roll in the parliament, and come out as clean, as integral as possible. So I think my question is, we do not, we cannot cast an evidence and wait for, the investigative authority to do their work. But we are indicting the parliament as an institution, as the third arm of government. That if there are semblance of corruption in parliament, then I think this is something that really needs to be discussed, because then where are we? Who will represent? Who will be the face? Who will represent Kenyans and do our accountability role?
What does it really show to the National Assembly, Dr.
Very simple. There is a problem here with the registration or legislative arm, and of course it has been there. Everybody has been thinking about it. Now it has come to the head. It has come from the head of executive. But let me ask you, I don't want to be here trying to now, because we have been told now I'm clean, let us hit them. No, who started this thing? Now, from the whole set of broad-based, the broad-based issue, the point is, it came together. The best business of money changing hands was the issue of impeachment. So they tasted blood, if I may use that word. They tasted, the honey, So this thing is real. And let me put it this way.
But that could be substantiated.
Okay, now let me put it this on record. It is alleged every senator was given 10 million. Let me use that word.
Okay,
it is alleged every MP received some money. So the question is, what has been happening? These same MPs have been lining up every weekend, being told Sidikiza from some money. They are met and told to take this money, go to the podium, say it is your money. So they can see money moving around, right? So now the other issue is when they ask for money from the executive, remember, it takes two to tango. EACC should be very keen. As the president says he's going to arrest, which I don't think is going to happen anyway, I don't think so. When the president is going to arrest some people there, EACC should start with whoever give the 10 million from the anti-money laundering. Why it pains the executive, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, because it was a condition by World Bank to be given loans. There was a loan of 173 billion. That's why they get the money. So EACC should start with the person who gave the money, then go to the person who was giving the money, if it goes that direction. But when a father does some bad manners at home, in the presence of the kids, then the kids does the same. Surely you cannot blame the kid wholesomely, because the kid is just learning from the best. The issue of bribery in parliament has been started because executive is the one who has the money. Now let me ask you, when you see the outside general reports gathering, of course, which are gathering dust in parliament, what happens, Victor, is this. There is a very damning report that comes on e-citizen. Let me give you a recent example. E-citizen, right? Money lost, billions, 11 billion, for example. Yeah. And you see broad-based members of parliament on TV. This is very sad. This is very wrong. This is a scam. The following day, what happens? They call some people from the executive and they are smiling. Saying, I think now we have got solutions. We have got answers. What happens? Money changes hands. Okay. So it is something that has been perpetuated by the executive. Victor, I refuse to sit here and being told to hate parliament now. I refuse. I refuse to come here. I've been told suddenly that parliament is very bad, executive is very good. If you start something, I don't know why it is paining the president so much. He's the head of the executive. Why are these reports, why is there need to bribe? Because the reports are rotten. The Auditor General is exposing a lot of things in government, and we have many of them and you know them. Then when they get there, they have to grease their hands so they can give a good report. So don't blame the MPs wholeheartedly. It is not right to ask for bribe, but unfortunately, the whole basis of broad-based, I can tell you, the whole essence of broad-based is sustenance. Everybody has to scratch my back scratch the other, let us go all the way to 2027, and then we see what happens. So, and because many broad-based MPs know that the government is very, very weak and is desperate, that's why they're asking for the money. It's the whole issue of conspiracy.
Okay.
That's why we need a leader.
It's a whole issue of conspiracy.
Is it only broad-based members of parliament? Because I think that is what.
I also wanted to ask why broad-based?
All chairmen of the official opposition were removed. The people who are the chairmen of those committees, they are broad-based. The chairmen of welfare are from the broad-based. The people of Sokohuru, we need to add some of these conditionalities. Sokohuru members are broad-based.
That's a free market.
No, I think, in due respect, I totally agree. The issue of accountability in this country has been an issue. Fighting for constitutional change in this country has always been on three pillars. Good governance and corruption has been one of the things that we have been fighting for in this country. Do we have institutions that can oversight that? Yes. Did we make a mistake in the 2010 Constitution? Absolutely. Because when we were looking at which institution is capable of oversighting which one, we went into diversion and then watered down the responsibilities that we had thought that the Senate would have. For example, being the oversight between the National Assembly and the Executive.
Yes.
Now, we have institutions that we keep on asking questions every day. I was in Homa Bay when the president said, if EACC, for example, someone has been investigated or the EACC officials have gone to a government official and they were found with 700 million, and that person goes and gets an anticipatory bail and continues to get those orders granted forever. How many people in this country that even when they have their issues of ethics, forgeries, all these kind of things. Now, when it comes to the issue of what my colleagues have discussed, that the president is calling out MPs. I think, in my view, what I believe we should do is to let the institutions that are supposed to carry out this oversight to do their job. And as long as we are just going to talk about it and to feel emotional about it, I don't really think this conversation is going to be blamed on either the members of the broad-based government. I know I'm a member of broad-based government, but I have had conversations with, for example, with governors that we interact like on casual basis. And what do they tell you about when they are being summoned on these committees of the Senate? They have to go there and negotiate. You know, it is sad because what does that
Negotiate
mean?
about what, sir?
Negotiate, like if they have been summoned or for something, then they have to prepare some kind of money to take to the committees. And I think the president spoke about it. Raila Amolo Odinga spoke about it. So it seems this is the right time to have these conversations. But these conversations cannot just be conversations if there is no action that is going to be taken. Because those members of parliament were telling the president to name the individuals that have been receiving bribes. But all over, we have had scandal after scandal after scandal. And the same individuals who, in one way or another, have been mentioned multiple times on these scams, they're still serving. They are serving at various levels of government. If that trend continues, then we are just making it something that is normal and
But gentlemen, is this call by the president able to change anything? Done. Because, as he says, probably we can also pick that as a point of correct information, because governors, when they're summoned to these committees, yes, and those committees are very powerful. And when a report lands in the, committee's desk, we all know what can happen there after the investigations. So, is it going to change anything?
Well, I don't know, but I think it's in the process of conversation, sir, Kenyans might propose, a solution, or the country might be drawn towards a workable solution to tackle, the racketeering and the vice that is going on in the National Assembly and in the Senate. But look, it is bent on oversighting. Who oversights the person who is oversighting?
Yes.
Who watches the watchdog? I think the question that we keep asking is that we have, in our makeup, we made the National Assembly a very powerful, arm of government. And they can go rogue, with impunity. In the process of holding, others to account. We also a little bit erred in the makeup of our constitution and say that the members, the governors, any executive now can be summoned by the quasi-judiciary, the quasi-judicial. The parliamentary committees are quasi.
For powers of High Court.
That they have equal powers to the High Court. And therefore, in the process of conducting their oversight role, they can make pronouncement or threaten to make pronouncement that can send cold towards the spine of whoever is appearing on the throne. And the only duty, the only salvation that such an individual has is what the Honorable Deputy Governor is saying here, that to quell that kind of, move by some money and, the money that speaks. So I think, yes, the conversation is timely, but I think it should be robust. And I think you are going to ask about what kind of conversation should we have as a country now that we are talking about a bipartisan and bringing back, the NADCO report and all these things. And so we have been here on every time looking for a dialogue and conversations. But I think at the center of this conversation, is to look at a time where can we, for the first time, discuss the institution Parliament as one of the institutions the Honorable Deputy Governor is talking about that should be given the independence that it serves. But also on the other side, I agree with Dr. Mbaye because, my friend, you really need to come clean in hands to condemn some of these vices. So the integrity, I don't know why because now I'm looking at also on the other side. We need to, the blade needs to cut on the both sides. Because when you're calling someone to account, you should be going to the clean hands. And I'm not pointing the finger to the head of executive. I think even authorities, have we had that recently some of the officials of Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has been convicted as well? Have we had that there's a full indictment to the judges in the judiciary? So I think for us as a country, as a vision of this country, where is the honest conversation that we should be having? If we don't have it, then we'll be coming here and there looking at what else can we be talking about.
Okay.
More and more.
You will give us an idea of that conversation, Dan. What does this really show? Two levels of governance. The only safe one is now the judiciary bit of it, of which
no, it's not.
Yeah.
There
was already a petition.
No, it's not.
To remove the members.
Let me tell you right now, and I'll say that from the word go.
I think I really have to restructure my question.
Let me try to get what.
Fine, go ahead, Dr.
Let me try to get what.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you right now, the only hope Kenyans have today, until 2027 at least, is the judiciary. Right now. Because when you see these kind of things between the two arms of government, the executive and legislature, be very worried and pray that the third one is not part of this mess. So the only hope we have right now, I'll say that in passing, and I'll qualify later. But number two, we are here to help Kenyans to understand the context. Now, when you come and ask a question, where does someone get 150 million? And it was a question. And see, when you ask a question, when the president asks a question and he repeats the question, it's good to give him answers. Do you know what Kenyans are asking? Where do you get the money every weekend for empowerment? This is 20 million per weekend times 4 times 6 months. That's what Kenyans are asking. Remember, I come from a party where we reason a lot to the ground. So people are asking, where do you get the money to do all these kind of things people are seeing? So when you ask us, where does someone get? Where do you get the money? So when you talk about wastage and all these kind of things, you are coming not with clean hands. That's very important. I refused again. But number two, I'll tell you this. When you talk about leadership and governance, we allow systems to work. The moment you begin interfering and coming in between, you'll be eaten or the system will collapse. There's nothing to talk here. You asked a very good question. Where will all this end? Will it change anything? My thinking, I've been thinking the whole night. Why all this? Why publicly? Okay? If you wanted to just send the kids and the MPs, you'd call them in camera. And literally mention names and say, me, I don't want to hear this thing again. It's become too much. But I can tell you, the moment you say, I'm going to arrest them, as who, how? Who is the complainant? What are you telling us about? Please. Let us not, if there is a problem of bribery, don't cause more drama. Don't cause more drama. Let's go to what do we do with the oversight.
What are you reading? What are you reading?
That's a very good question, because that's why we are here. I'm asking, if it was something that was meant to change something, this is a president who used these MPs.
Yes.
And by the way, if you talk about arrest, let's all go back to where the broad-based started. Because we are putting these MPs under the bus. Actually, you're telling Kenyans, these people are corrupt. Don't even vote for them. Don't even think about 2027. But he wants to be re-elected. So you throw these people under the bus, and you go out there, create new people. Yes, create a new movement. You know, this is pre-natures. What you see here about 10-point agenda is now courtship, dating and all that. Marriage will happen next year after 1 year anniversary. Then there'll be some coalition, political one. So I feel for the senators and MPs. They are being thrown under the bus. Because tell me, somebody who will go and vote them. You'll be told, you passed finance bill, number 1, you did number 2, number 3, you took the bribe. So I'm asking, why should the president take this opportunity to go? One, already, he's the one who started this. The people who are going to arrest anybody, they should start with, people should come out and say, I was given 10 million. Then now, it takes two to tango, and EACC can capture the one who gives this money, the one who gives the other money. But let me tell you, there's nothing like a dialogue to solve this thing. Vic, we must stop going after other things to sort what we know should happen. My problem is what happens to oversight.
It's 7:30.
That is very important.
I want to serve you tea. Doctor, I want to serve you tea. This is a table of men. I want to serve you tea.
Should we go back to 2022? No, 2027. Is this members of parliament from opposition as well?
Let's take a break. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.
It's going to be very dangerous. Very bad for
Welcome back. It's now time for us to continue the discussion. If you're joining us, let's talk about the accusation from the executive to the legislature. So let's talk about this now. Dr. The fact that the president has talked about this for the third time, and we have got several committees of parliament, and we have got several reports and summons that have happened there. What does that really show to the reports that get to the political limelight, and whether those reports have been doctored or not?
We have had the president express, and using very strong terms, by the way, like extortion.
Yes.
You know, extortions. You see, the term extortion is a very serious a criminal term. So where are we heading with this? I think I agree with my colleagues that the third arm of government now, the legislature, is watching keenly this conversation. I know they have been fighting their own battles against those who have been filing petitions to have them removed. But this is a sigh of relief because at the end of it all, where the executive and the legislature get redress is the judiciary. But this is also a moral question because it begs the question, why did we have Chapter 6? Chapter 6 of the Constitution. It talks about ethics, talks about morality, talks about responsibility. Now, if IEBC, for example, clears a convicted felon, how do you expect to get credibility, or how do you even talk about the issue of representation in the first place that is based on integrity. So either the nation, this national dialogue or this conversation empowers these institutions to take a decisive action, and the judiciary has to review some of their procedures.
Yeah.
And I agree with the president when he said that for how long will somebody continue to receive anticipatory bails? Ethical issues are ethical issues. So criminal matters are criminal matters. If a criminal matter can be dragged in a court for 20 years, if you look at majority of the people who serve in leadership roles, for example, if you start with all those scandals in this country, you know, since I was a student until today, some of those individuals are there. Some of them have very serious criminal cases outside this country, but they are serving in, they're provided to give, we continue to elect them.
Yeah.
If this conversation that the executive is leading to empower these institutions to take decisive actions, including the timelines on which matters of corruption, matters of ethics have to be concluded, the timelines for those, I think it will lead somewhere. But it also talks about why the public is also in this mess.
Yeah.
Because if the people who are supposed to provide the oversight and the leaders that we have elected are all accused, then who is left free? So I hope that this conversation really will strengthen the oversight institutions and be given the powers to do their, you know, their responsibilities. Otherwise, the same people, money is recovered somehow before before it is recorded as an exhibit. 60% is gone, or maybe somebody is negotiating. Some people, you know, if you read in newspapers, so even when the EACC officials go to the individual houses and making a lot of recoveries, it is very difficult to see the same people, just like they are emboldened. What emboldens them, I don't know. But I think this is really what we believe, if there is sincerity in terms of setting some kind of standard, that standard is set and maintained.
Okay, let's talk about the credibility, Danny. What does it really test the credibility of that arm of government, Parliament?
Definitely. I mean, there's no doubt. And that's why from the moment we started talking about the state, you know, of our Parliament, I was bold enough and said this is an indictment to the credibility and the posture of Parliament as an institution. I'm referring to Parliament as an institution. And why as an institution? Because it is, the legislature is an arm of government, you know, that should be independent. The word is independent. So if, in accordance to the Constitution and their oversight responsibility, then there is barrage of accusations that we are seeing, especially from the head of executive. Then I say that there is an evidence, could be an evidence from the allegations that this is happening. And why should we be disturbed about this? Because like I've mentioned, probably the executive has got an issue with Parliament because there are three inseparable arms of government that works independent. But as a citizen, this is a house that should provide hope for me. This is a house that should oversight. This is a house that should represent my view as a Kenyan. This is a house that, through the powers that we gave with our vote in the ballot, we gave them an overall responsibility to fast track some of these responsibilities. So there is no way in the powers that we equip to them, they cannot pay the Mwananchi back with corruption. They cannot pay Mwananchi back with bribery. So however much we are here, and you know, my colleague Dr. Mbai is trying to, you know, to say that he pities the members of parliament, and he's saying he pities those from the broad-based. No, I'm saying we are not only from broad-based that we should pity. It is a whole house under indictment. Whether you're in government or whether you're in opposition, as alleged, you have a case on your shoulders to answer. You have a case to answer to Kenyans. And look, this is not as we are looking towards 2027. I mean, Daktari, the deputy governor, corrected and said that this mess was here before. You know, even as we are headed to election, we have members of parliament with questionable character from both aisles, who by one way or the other beat their way out of integrity chapter and found their way into parliament. And later then I'm also going to indict the citizens of the Republic of Kenya with the choices that we are making to put these, because these guys do not just come from another planet. These are members of parliament that we sit, we vet, and indeed we go and vote them.
Okay.
So for me, I think it's a wholesome. That is why, even as Dr. Mbai is indicting me about the need of conversation, I am saying yes, we have the institution that should fast track, investigation, and if they are found guilty, to be brought to account through, the judiciary. But I'm also saying, as a Kenyan, the conversation that we should be having is that even as we apportion the blame, we should look at their obligatory responsibility as Kenyans, because we are obligated to elect members of parliament that we feel are people who are members who are integral in their character and have lived among us to represent us. I'm
trying to be in the shoe of Wanjiku. How does this sound in the ears of Wanjiku? Because when you say that members of parliament, the entire house is now condemned.
Yes.
What does this really sound in the ears of Wanjiku down there, the voter? Dan?
The voter, it sounds that they're also indicted because these are members of parliament we elected. I am very, very open because we've been in campaign trail. Some of us are run for office. Some of us are in the office. We know what wananchi expect from a candidate who is seeking for position in this country.
Okay.
The question is that we ask, should we take our time for this time? This must teach us a lesson as the citizens of Kenya, to take our time and vet the members of parliament that we elect. Have a conversation with those that we want to elect at their higher responsibility. And we are not exonerating ourselves from the mess that we are in.
You remember they talked about the recall clause. Somehow it works. The Speaker of the National Assembly said, well, we shouldn't be blamed for enacting appropriate legislation for recall of MPs. So
I think, you ask a question, what is Wanjiku thinking?
Exactly.
Let me tell you what I think Wanjiku thinks. Wanjiku knows. Wanjiku has given up. Wanjiku knows that there's a lot of eating going on between the executive and the legislature, especially since broad-based. And I'll tell you this, please, Dan. All the chairmen who were not aligned to broad-based were removed from chairmanships, and definitely any chairman appoints the chairman of welfare that is aligned to them. I mean, I served at least in the county. I understand what happens. The chairman of the committee, first of all, were all removed to those who didn't agree with the president, and Raila Odinga, they put the friendly ones. So this is the house eating each other. This is a broad-based now, the chicken coming home to roost. You know, when you do an incestuous relationship, it will come to bite you one day. And that's what is happening. Number two, quickly. Now, you ask a question. What happens in Parliament? We have like 4 reports that we know have landed there from the Auditor General reports. Because Parliament is supposed now to check, investigate, and put executive into account, right? A citizen goes to schools, all those kind of things, Hasra Fund, like 5-10 on issues that are not clear. Even housing levy, even SHA. Reports have been there, you have been seeing the reports. Now, they are ordered. Why? Because the Parliament was compromised. So what actually we are talking ourselves, we have a team of lawyers, because like I told you, our hope is judiciary. So we are preparing, going through all those reports, to go to court and try to see whether we can get some reprieve from the court. And that's why there are 3 arms of government. To go and say, this is what was said. So Parliament has not been able to do anything 90 days later. That is what, because, you're asking, what is the position of Wanjiku? Some of us are saying, we can't wait until 2027. We must give hope to Wanjiku by saying, look here, this is what happened. Auditor General list issues which have not been done anything, or the report was sanitized. Right? So, therefore, what do we do? We must proceed and ask the courts, kindly intervene for us, have orders done, for example, stopping some of these things, ordering about something about go schools, something about stoppage of wastage through Hazra Fund, e-citizens, where is the 11 billion? That is what we are saying. We are doing as citizens because we cannot wait for 2027. But the other issue, now, Victor, we cannot get lost on one thing. All these things is happening because there is a 10-point agenda here. The president must be seen to be doing something about the 10-point agenda. I'll pick only two. One is corruption, which we have discussed. So he has to be seen to be fighting. And you see, remember the statement of both Raila and Ruto, that we must fight judicial everywhere, corruption everywhere, in the judiciary, in the legislature. So they must be seen, start to be seen to be doing something. Never mind, I don't see that arrest happening. It was meant to, and I want to read to you something Karungo, as a senator for Kiambu has sent here. President Ruto is practicing preemptive blackmail. By shouting that senators are bribed during impeachment, he's not suddenly discovering corruption. He's laying ground to manipulate perception. We know money has exchanged hands before, but why is it now? Just as the Senate begins hearing the charges against Governor Erigi Mutai of Kericho. Simple, he wants to corner the Senate.
Did he say he knew?
It's my time.
He knew.
Come on, he's simple. He wants to corner the Senate to dance in his 2,000 tunes. If we impeach, he takes credit. If we don't, he says we were bought. That is not fighting graft. That is weaponizing the truth for political convenience. I'm just saying, in that context. Let me go back. Now, if you look very keenly, the president is supposed to address some UN UNGA next month. Whether he'll do that is another story, because there's a petition. We are targeting 10 million people to say she should not address. That's another story of another day. That one is another day, Victor. We are going to discuss about it. Now, let's come back home.
Daktari.
Now, he mentioned about corruption. Number two, look at the issue of this issue of compensation. Now, you go against the law, appoint Professor Makau Mutua to read something which is not there. He tried the same with Maraga. It was thrown out by the court because it was the responsibility of NPS. Duarte did the same by appointing some team to look for the pending bills of NHF. It was thrown out by the court because it was constitutional. So we have a tendency by the executive that wants to do this to please people, a lot of PR. It is not anchored on law. I can tell you today, the Victim Protection Act is there. 2014 enacted as a law.
Okay.
Now, the question is, simply go and operationalize, put a board of trust, the board that's supposed to be there, put trustees so they can go and do the composition. But you want to put professor so that you can manipulate it, so that you can handle it. Then Duare comes and says, it's not 2024, we will start with the Ouattara massacre. Just to muddle the waters. There is no intentionality to do what's supposed to be done. So this 10-point agenda is what is the basis for all this. And I can tell you this.
All right. Is there any political move with this statement from the president, being the third time that the president is raising this, and now it's raised on a parliamentary group meeting, both houses, so it's not members of Kenya Kwanza being hit head-on or members of ODM. It was a joint parliamentary group meeting. Any political move out of this?
I reflect back on when Uhuru released a list of shame of those MPs. More than 50% of them are still in. They were re-elected a few times.
Yes.
They're still serving as members of parliament. What comes out of this, I think I agree with my colleagues here that this conversation should just go beyond just the national dialogue.
Yeah.
The public needs to know, the executive needs to continue to have these conversations. Could there have been a structured way to do it? Yes, absolutely. We have committees, we have speakers of both houses of parliament. But to me, when it comes to the issue of corruption, I think this is something that is supposed to cut across, regardless on whether we have a 10-point agenda that is a political convenience for broad-based government officials. If you look at other democracies, developed democracies, they also struggle with their own coalitions. Germany, for example. And when you begin looking at this conversation, my view is this the right moment in which Chapter 6 of the Constitution will would help us to sanitize or to get us going into the direction in which we are supposed to go. Because if you see at the Gen Z protests, one of the things that came out was the issue of accountability. And in accountability, we are talking about corruption. We are talking about we are entrusted with public offices. How are we building that public confidence to ensure that we are accountable and we are helping other people to account as well? And so this conversation should just go beyond what the president and Raila are saying. It should include strengthening the institutions, oversight institutions. And it should cut across. Because the moment you have Wanjiko is the one who is appearing in court and also getting their cases cleared very quickly. And my matters are delayed, and then after 10 years I'm still in an elective position. And then that erodes public confidence.
Okay. I mean, I want us to start to land, the show. Solution to this, done. Walking the talk. The president said that he's not going to shame them. He's going to arrest them.
I was just coming to that. And the mess, every problem we seem to be facing, looked at our governance and political architecture alone. It's two issues, whether... And that's why I'll still come back to the role of Mwananchi, by the way. I'm not exonerating him from this, however much Mbai would want me to do that. The reason we are having a problem in this country is we haven't been emboldened enough to have an issue-based politics where the citizens would decide, give the powers to any member of parliament who is capable, regardless of any political party that they are running with. We are a party, we are a nation that is so political party-oriented, and that however much any probable and potential member of parliament or any elective position, or even governor, or the ticket of deputy governor, unless you to a political party, and you know the formations of these political parties, where they're coming from. ODM, the majority. DCP now, you know where the majority is coming from. UDA. The makeup of a political party is indeed a problem. And therefore, what are you going to reap from the outcome of the political parties? You are to reap members of parliament and senate who must be loyal to certain tasks and certain responsibilities and certain directions. And that even if an impeachment motion is brought to them, you will look funny when you become very independent about your thought, rather than carrying out your oversight role. And therefore, you'll even be compelled, because I heard some of them were being said, you either take the money or you shun the door. Allegations again. So I think in this still conversation with Mwananchi, not the political conversation, is one of the things we are looking at. And mark my words that all these mechanizations that you're seeing are definitely going to a plebiscite. Let me tell you that for a fact. It's going to a conversation, a proposal, and a referendum. It is not the first time we've heard about the committee of experts. Right? Now Mbai agree with me. It's not the first time we have heard about, let us put a team together to look at after the 7th, 8th March of Handshake. And then what brought that is a Building Bridges initiative. Stakeholders consultation. These buzzwords are very familiar. Stakeholders consultation, public participation, and then what does it become? A discussion on a referendum. After that, we also look at the NADCO, the committee of the NADCO. What are we looking at? A stakeholders meeting, a consultation, a document. What is that document informing? A referendum. This one is here again, because you've seen the task force team has already said that we are going to do the same thing. We are going to look at the stakeholders' engagement. We are going to visit the counties, and then come up with a document that will be graced. What will that document look at? We are looking towards a referendum. So a political class one of the political classes that we're having is towards looking at how do we sustain a nation in the heat of things by a national conversation, by a discussion, by the proposal, by bipartisan. Those words, you hear them, are always taking a Mwananchi to prepare them for. So I am telling you in this set today that what you'll hear out of this conversation, I'm willing to come back to this set after the ZANI committee. You'll hear we are proposing a what? A referendum. You'll hear we are proposing something that will come. So as you ask me, what is Mwananchi thinking? Mwananchi, and I'd like to add in what Mbai is talking about, Mwananchi is very confused because now we have a system of government that, you know, the current president keeps on referring as a mongrel, you know, where the members of the United Democratic Alliance are now in opposition. We are having a problem where section of members of ODM who should be in opposition are now in government. What a confusion. What an interesting time to live by. So in all these things, we cannot, still I'm saying, that is why we cannot exonerate any political party, any political party. By, it's good that you have a hope in the judiciary. And I think this is okay. But I would like to task you that one of your party leaders has viciously condemned the judiciary. And is on record. Your party leader went bare knuckle on judiciary last year on January in Bargetuni in a tournament. Condemned the judiciary for, making orders to halt, government processes on the 7th March against Justice Maina. So where can you tell us, as a member of this particular political party, that you have a hope in the judiciary and now you are taking court cases to... I mean, you are part of the confusion that Kenyans are facing right now.
Victor,
and we are not exonerating you from this.
Daniel started the show.
Daniel
started the show very well. Now he's good. Now he started the show very well. I don't know what... I don't know what is called this coffee had.
The show is going on very well. The show is going on very well.
No, number one. Now, very quickly, Vic.
My friend,
very quickly, Vic.
I have to put it. The show is going on very well, yes. And we are almost about to finish.
Very good, yes. And
in 1 minute.
I was wondering whether there was something additional to this question. In this question. Now, one, the same second deputy president is talking about. He is on record as well, saying, no, he came back and said, I believe in judiciary, when he was going through impeachment. And even now, that's why he has appealed in court. So, really, he may have said something, but then he came, I mean, everybody is capable of looking at what he said before. But number two, let me tell you, I'll give you my summary. Victor, everything lies and falls on leadership. That is, as per John Maxwell, one of the best authors, books on leadership. This whole thing, there is one CEO of this country. There's one CEO. If you see anything going wrong in the family, you ask the head. There is an issue here of a politician who never recovered from politics, and he brought politics to governance. It cannot work. There are two different things. But the CEO, Dr. Harry, the CEO can also be frustrated because the other arm of government is not, not. For example, the thing is, the number of reports or laws that Wanjiku is riding on right now, according to the president, some of them are half-baked or doctored. Now, what I can tell you is that why Parliament finds a way, a route of getting for money, because of the rot that is presented to them from the executive. And if there's one angel God sent, listen, the Auditor General, the Controller of Budget, these are two leaders that God should keep forever, and even strengthen, longer, just make sure that their lives are even longer, because they are the same people, just two offices that are quite independent and doing their work. The Lord's work, if you want me to say that. I would repeat this again. I can tell you, once you have the responsibility to become the CEO, anything coming 3 years later, people are getting bribes. Really? After 3 years of government, you have not put systems and structures. How you are going to deal with legislation? You are the one who started the bribery issue and the voter movement of money. You cannot cry now. That's an issue of leadership. I want us to... No. What I'll tell Wanjiku... The time is up. The time is up. Victor, what I'll tell Wanjiku is very simple. We are repeating that a mistake has been done about the quality of leaders. Now, look at 340 MPs and senators quickly. Only about 25 never impeached Rigathi Gachagua because they couldn't see the reason, including Babu Owino and others. Imagine 10% of 340 are the people who have the integrity and quality for why they were voted. All the others are going to go home. We are going to get new leaders. who cannot be corrupted. No, I am not worth 20 million. Look at me properly. I'm not worth 10 million, 100 million. I am worth my services. I'm going to render the people of Kenya and the people of Nakuru, for example, when I'm elected senator. I am not worth. If you can put a price on me, I'm not worth to hold a public office.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. How do we have some sort of hygiene moving forward? Because, again, people who will be facing these committees are counties quite often. Counties, county bosses, you accompany your bosses to these committees. So how do we make some sort of hygiene for better consumption thereafter?
There's one thing that I picked when the president was giving his speech in Homa Bay. Mm-hmm. The relationship between the independence of judiciary, the legislative arm, and also the executive is something that he called out. He didn't say that, he didn't exonerate the judiciary. And I totally agree that when you look at those three, they have to work in a balance.
Yeah.
You saw Raila dismissing the Senate that the oversight of the county assembly, the county governments, is the county assembly.
Yeah.
And that was deliberate. The Senate was supposed to oversight the legislature and the executive. When they lost their power to National Assembly, then they had to find a reason to stick into the idea of ensuring that devolution works. Is this the time to have the conversation that will lead into what my colleagues are saying, some kind of a referendum? I don't know. But to me, when I begin looking at it, I think the president is setting a pace. And I hope that that pace is really going to strengthen judiciary, because he raised the question, for how long will somebody obtain anticipatory orders to continue in the position where there is evidence to continue with the prosecution of this individual? At what point would we reach where someone has been alleged to have committed a certain crime and they step aside so that investigation can happen and those matters are concluded within a reasonable time? We have seen this, not now. We have people whose cases have been in court for the last 25 years, and they are still leaders of this country. If this is something that sets the base, where we'll have the responsibility of the public in terms of how they look at the leadership, the institutions that are supposed to be independent. And by the way, I do not also to some extent agree that Controller of Budget and the Auditor General's office, whatever they present, even through their own oversights, is true reflection of some of those findings that they find they get. Because sometimes some of the Auditor General's reports of the people who come to audit in these counties, they are not sometimes, even when I'm not accountant, but when I look at the documents, some of those documents, just the knowledge of being an administrator and run big budgets, I find fault in some of those reports. They are also not very clean in themselves, because the auditors that come to these counties also, they seek some kind of incentives for them to make sure that your report does not, I don't know, look, for example, last year, when the Controller of Budget releases a report of the first quarter of how we have absorbed funds as counties, when you have not received the disbursement for that quarter, so on which basis are you then sending information out there for the public consumption about how money has been utilized? I think this conversation calls all of us, these institutions, to see what would be the best way workable to ensure that public have confidence, we do not accuse each other, so that we can have some kind of robust system that allows people to have confidence in governance in general.
Thank you. Dr. Rimbai, somebody's asking, why are you bitter?
I'm passionate. People need to distinguish between the way I talk. I take the point home. Let me tell you why I cannot be bitter. I'm in a very good place.
That's a very good question.
Yes, a very good question and a very good answer.
A very good answer.
A very good answer. Yeah, because I'm passionate about what I believe in.
Another question: when an alligator comes out of water and tells the crocodile is sick, who are you to doubt the story? We all know that statement.
Yes.
From the book of is it a man of the people or something?
Yes.
Yes, so why are you to doubt the story?
But also, be very doubtful when two people who are eating suddenly begin telling of each other, each other. There's a deeper problem.
Dr. Rimbai, we'll be here.
Dr. is a very brilliant mind, but sometimes I'm shocked by, it shocks me.
No,
who
matters? Who determines brilliance?
The one on the far right is Daniel Orogo. He's a political governance expert. Dr. Rimbai is also a political governance expert. He's a member of Planning Secretary, DCP.
And I'm delivering one term. I used to deliver the plan in frustrations and humiliation. I'm now delivering one term.
And His Excellency Dr. John Erus, Deputy Governor of Turkana. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We wrap it there. Remember Chaniko KBC. Chaniko KBC. Today we have Sudan and Senegal going head-to-head at... and then Nigeria and Congo. That's going to be an interesting match. Sudan and Nigeria versus Congo. So remember Chan Iko KBC. Yesterday, the full time, Uganda went all 3-3 with South Africa, and Algeria 0-0 with Niger. So that's how it all ended. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of the show. And the best person I should thank is you, the viewer, for watching us talk about matters of governance. It matters a lot for us as a nation. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning. I'm Victor. Bye-bye.